Welcome to a very special edition of Thursday Night SmackDown with your host Justin from J Master Productions. Tonight our main event is Mr. Donald Trump versus his old friend Elon Musk. Who would have thought that these two would end up beefing on the world stage? Because we all should know that politics is a giant dog and pony show meant to divide people. There is no such thing as Democrat Republican. There is no such thing as the left or the right. These people are all friends, and their job is to make you and me fight so that we never see the bigger picture. Because no matter what goes on in this world, people blame Democrats, people blame Republicans. But it looks like what the point of this whole beef, because whatever they're saying it is, right, because of the big beautiful bill, the next BBB, which really all these plans, these financial plans, is to just add more debt to make you and me more poor. I mean, I don't care what way they spin it or what they say, like the future. This is like long-term plans. It's always to just enslave us, make us more poor, and make the rich more rich. Nothing ever changes, and that's what people they put all their faith in these people. And that's why you have the left, the right, people who identify with these things. And then you'll have the extreme sides, which might be people who believe in Antifa or people who believe in QAnon, that kind of stuff. Or people who go down that rabbit hole even of like, oh, it's the Jews that control everything. Even though there's some truth to it, it's not, it's misleading. But we're not even going to talk about the JQs. But the point of, I think, well, what's going on right now is most people in America, right, are neutral. They don't necessarily identify as liberal, Democrat, or Republican, conservative. They don't even like politics. They don't want to talk about politics. They don't want to hear about politics because they see that it divides people. It makes people fight, which is these very surface level obvious things. But most of all, they just don't want to get judged off stuff. They don't want to like say a certain viewpoint that they might hold and get judged off it. That's the main reason why there's so many neutral people. And again, this is what politics is meant to do. It's meant to divide people so that people don't talk about certain things. So that we do the dirty work for them. We judge each other, right? It might change your social circle if you uphold certain beliefs. If you start talking about truth like I do, both sides hate you. Everyone hates you when you talk about the truth. But they're trying to get all the people who are neutral in the middle. It seems like they're trying to get them on board with Elon Musk and probably his AI stuff, because most people are in the middle. Elon Musk tweeted out earlier today, right, that should there be a third party that the American people get involved because 80% of Americans or whatever like don't even really identify as Republican or Democrat, which I mean I think that's true from what I last looked up. That actually it's only like in the 20% range of people who really identify as both. So what if Elon Musk, right? What if he becomes the face of truth? What if now the point of this is to put him as the face of truth, meaning that he's going to start quote unquote truth, not actual truth. What if he's going to be the one to start that conspiracy and create a whole new political party that people is going to think is for freedom, and that they're going to think, oh, finally a party. It's not controlled. They talk about the truth. There's no censorship, quote unquote. But what it's really doing is leading all, even if there is a third party that rises up, it's going to lead all three of us to the same place. Because now you got Dan Balzerian, Jake Shields, all these big names in the quote unquote truth community, Nick Fuentes, starting to side now with Elon Musk. Actually, I don't even know about Nick Fuentes. I'm just using him as an example of one of these micro influencers like Jake Shields, like Dan Balzerian, who's very anti you know what, right? And then the whole thing, like, with David Pony, whatever his name is, the guy who does the pizza reviews, how just, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, someone said F the Jews again when he was doing a review. So again, and now we got the thing with Elon Musk. He just had that black eye. If you know anything about the occult, the spiritual aspect of all of this, he's hazing. It's part of the ritual he's doing in the fraternity, because that's what these people are. They're a giant club of people who control the world, of rich people. That's really all they are. There's nothing good about them. They're complete evil psychopaths who use their power, who use their money, their resources, and their knowledge, especially, for evil. They hide knowledge from us. It's very easy. I know it's hard for people to see the bigger picture of what's really going on, but it's really actually so simple when you think about it. It's just a giant club of the wealthiest people in the whole world who don't want to share their wealth and knowledge with the 99% of the world. So they keep all the knowledge to themselves. They monopolize industry across the world, all industries. And most importantly, how they do this, people ask, is they control the flow of information. That's why AI is not good. I mean, it could be used for good, these things, but everyone who is controlling it, whatever angle they're trying to make it, is all being controlled by the same dark occult. Elon Musk and Donald Trump, I mean, this is nothing more than like a drama TV show. This is why I started this podcast here with the World Wrestling Entertainment introduction, because that's what this is. I don't know how much more I can explain it, and it really pains me that, like, all these people that follow me on social media that I know personally, even, and again, this is how I know they don't watch my content, but they hear me say these things. I constantly talk about how I don't participate in voting. Politics isn't real. Your votes don't count. I don't believe in it. And I'll explain this to people. I'll explain why I even believe, and how I know for a fact, not even that just I believe, I know that politics is fake, starting just from the Federal Reserve, right? If you know anything about that, starting in 1913. And we're not going to get into all this stuff, just to give you examples, but I'll explain all these things to someone, and they'll still ask me, well, who do you prefer, like Democrat or politics? It's crazy. I mean, people are just so blind to the bigger picture of things that we deserve to be enslaved. I hate to say it, but like, you people listening to this, if you don't know what I'm talking about, like, you really deserve to be enslaved. You, your children, your grandchildren, because you're so ignorant and you're so unable to see past surface level childish things as an adult. That, I mean, this goes on to people who die this way. They never look into, do a breadth of research, a little penny of research even, into anything beyond what they get told on a daily basis by the media, by their friends, by their family, by their coworkers, by their neighbors, whatever it might be. Because I've lived in this world for 28 years, and 99.9% of people I've ever come across in my life, 99.99999% of people don't know truth. I'm not trying to sound negative. I'm not trying to sound pessimistic. I'm not trying to sound doom and gloom. I'm telling you, if we don't change things now, like today, this very moment, we are going to wake up to a day where we don't have freedom of thoughts, where you question the government, you get suspicious about what they're doing. You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist or do a podcast about me talking about consciousness or exposing truth or anything like that. So these things that are so weird to the average person, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be that way. You say the wrong thing, maybe even on accident, you're done. You're gonna be cut off. Maybe it's gonna be that digital ID chip that Elon Musk too wants to put in you, that Bill Gates talks about putting in you, and they could shut you off, meaning your bank account. So if you make payments with your palm, let's say, like we've seen in all these movies, these futuristic shows or whatever, right? You scan your hand, but what if it doesn't work? What if they shut it off? Because it's going to be centralized for the whole world. Just like the same way right now, it is centralized. Because, for example, if you have TD Bank, right? Let's say that's your bank here in the United States. What's going to happen if there's a quote-unquote cyber attack, or quote-unquote the power goes out? And that goes for any bank if the power goes out. But let's just say TD, for instance, to show you how centralized it is. How many Americans are going to be not able to access their money if that happens? And I know you can maybe go to different ATMs, this and that, but, what if you can't actually access the database of TD Bank, right? So if they do this on a wide scale where they just shut the power off of a certain part of the world, well, now no one can get their money out at all unless they have it all on hand, which obviously the vast, vast, vast majority of Americans don't. So I'm not trying to digress so much, but it's just so silly that we keep believing these drama WWE scripts, and they just keep getting away with people getting divided, people fighting over the wrong things, people looking at the wrong stuff, and they're not seeing what's really going on. So again, like I was saying earlier, what if Elon Musk does become the face of quote unquote truth? What if he starts using talking points like me? Because, right, he's talking about the Epstein list. How could I even forget this? He's talking about the Epstein list. Of course Trump was on the Epstein list. Of course Trump is part of the club. I mean, I've talked about Trump being part of the club since I started making videos back in 2019. I was telling everyone back in 2017 even that Donald Trump and all these politicians don't have our best interest at heart. And here we are, 8 years later, and we're in such bad condition, this country. Oh, well, it's because of the Democrats. It's not because of the Democrats. It's because of both politicians teaming up and fooling you into thinking that they're against each other. It's literally World Wrestling Entertainment. In the public eye, they yell, they scream, they fight, oh, they hate each other. But behind the scenes, they have dinner. This is not hard to understand. I can explain this to 5-year-olds and they can understand this. But grown adults cannot understand this because grown adults have been rear-ended with so much lies that, quite frankly, I don't think they can come out of it at this point. And that's why I try to talk to the youngest people that I possibly can who will listen, because people who are old, their minds are closed off. People who are younger, their minds are still a little bit open. But even once someone even goes 20 years of their life, being rear-ended by the government institution called the school system, it's almost impossible to break someone out of that. They have to go through something practically themselves, spiritually. I don't know what that might be, to wake up. I don't even know why I'm awake. I don't know why I started asking questions. I don't know why I am the way that I am. But I'll tell you something. Every year that I get older, I'm glad that I know what I know and that I keep doing this. Because although people aren't awake, there are people who come around and appreciate what I do. Because what I do, I get no reward for. I get no reward. I spend a lot of time doing this. I get no money for this, right? I barely get followers, likes, comments, any of that stuff. But anyway, that's not the point. You see the micro influencers. Like, I just want to cover this last point before I wrap up. You see the micro influencers like Jake Shields, Dan Bilzerian, as I was saying earlier. Even guys like Homath, maybe Nick Fuentes will join. We'll probably see Myron Gaines, I'm sure, join in. But we're going to see all these micro influencers, whether they're on X or on YouTube or however they get big. And they're probably going to use a ton of truth talking points. They're going to praise Elon Musk as a genius, as he's a savior of freedom of speech, which is effing hilarious. Excuse my language. But that's effing hilarious that people think this guy is a genius, that people think he's some sort of freedom fighter. There's censorship on X. Yeah, my tweets have been censored. Other people's stuff has been censored. There's less censorship than maybe on Instagram or whatever, on TikTok especially. But there's still censorship. Elon Musk has always been the billionaire, I noticed, that people like and trust for some reason. Maybe it's because he uses conspiracy talking points, right? He always has. He always was talking about aliens, right, coming in. He was always talking about AI. What if it takes us over? Oh, it's going to take us over. But, even though it's going to take us over, let's keep innovating and telling people how great it is. But in the next breath, saying it's going to destroy people. I mean, it makes no sense, right? This guy, Elon Musk, is a fraud. This guy is not a freedom fighter. This guy, for some reason, people trust him. And again, I guess they have been planting seeds, the powers that be, by using him, the past 10 or so years, using conspiracy talking points and using him as a free speech, lumping him in with MAGA and that crowd. gaining all their trust with him. I mean, my God, people, it's so easy to dupe you all. You guys are all very gullible. And I'm not saying you as if the person who's awake watching this, but my God. Well, we pretty much all know, those of us who are awake, we already knew Trump was on the Epstein list. We were saying this as Donald Trump kept talking about the Epstein list, that he's on it, so it's not going to get released. MAGA, don't get your hopes up. And of course, it was never released. And of course, Elon Musk is going to go on and say something stupid like that. Elon Musk, again, he's in the same club as Trump. Do not fall for this WWE script where they're distracting you. And now they're probably going to do something with Elon Musk and quote-unquote truth. So we'll see what happens with all this. What a time to be alive, right, everyone? I mean, we are living in such crazy times, watching a Truman Show type reality in front of us, where it's like you realize these things are all fake, right? This is all a dog and pony show, and everyone around you falls for it. It's either they fall for it or they just don't care. And the people who don't care, that's who it looks like they're targeting. So it'll be interesting to see what they do next, as I was saying. What a time to be alive.